It's November 9th, 6 p.m. at the Wolfeboro Town Library. It's a meeting of the Wolfeboro Budget Committee, and tonight we're going to address the budgets of the park administration, park maintenance, beaches, Abenaki hockey rink, programs, community center, patriotic purposes, fireworks, Clark House, cemetery to capital outlays, Pop Whalen Fund. Steve, can I get you to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Town Manager, do you have anything you'd like to talk to us about before we start?
I'd just like to give you a little bit of information as we kick off. On July 20th, the Board of Selectmen approved the budget guidelines, which were issued to the department heads. The goal was to keep the general fund at a 5.5 or 7.5% increase, which is $1,181,283. Rationale was debt service is increasing $376,000. Health insurance estimate is $76,000. Fuel and heating costs increases are $158,000, which make up $647,000, which is 54.8% of that ask. So we went through. Department heads brought their budgets to me. We pared some of those down. We went to the Board of Selectmen. They pared some of them down. And today you have a budget in front of you for the general fund, which is 7.5% increase, or $1,177,881. A water increase of 2.7%, or $43,495. An electric fund increase, $14,135, reduction of 0.14%, and Pop Whalen, an increase of $72,439, or 31.37%. All in, across all budgets, the budget is up 4.35%, or $1,287,150. In your budget books, as you go through them, is the front cover outlines the summaries. Those summaries outline your budget. They outline the increases by percentage from 2022 to 2023 proposed, whether there's increases or decreases, what those changes look like, administrative allocations, debt service, and capital reserve balances. When you get into the individual budgets within each department, you'll have a cover sheet, which you got a bunch of them this evening. You'll have your MuniSmart report, and then you'll have a backup document for the 300 to 900 series, and then behind that will be the backup for the 100, 200 series. The 100, 200 series backup actually breaks it down so you can see what every employee costs the town. So if you so choose to dissect that, you can see what the actual costs, all in with healthcare, retirement, every other type of insurance that we have built in. Toward the back of the book, there's a standalone section for all the capital outlays for all funds. And then the very last tab is a 5-year average of all the actuals, 2017 through 2021. With that said, the cover sheet that you have in front of you that we're making for all the departments gives you an organizational chart of the department, breaks down hourly wages and the 100, 200 series. It breaks down the 100 through the 900 series, and it shows you a 4-year utilization of the budget. It'll also tell you the number of employees, and if there's a new employee in the department, it'll be highlighted in yellow. You'll see 2 of those as we go through the budget, and we'll address one of those tonight. Short of that, Mr. Chairman, whatever you would like from us, we will try to answer.
Okay, I got a couple of questions. It's my understanding there's a reduction in the retirement for Group 2 and Group 1 this year. The rates were a little bit cheaper. Is that reflected in the budget?
Yes, it is.
Also that the legislature gave the towns, I think it was $100 million. How much did Wolfeboro get of that? And if we received the money, where did that money go?
Are you referring to House Bill 1221 for the New Hampshire retirement system?
Yeah.
That it was approximately $44,000, and I'll be meeting with the Board of Selectmen tomorrow. I believe it's being used to reduce the tax rate.
Did you receive any other money from the state?
We receive a lot of money from the state, so I'm
I
not
mean,
sure.
new things as a result of this last, like the retirement money. To offset the retirement.
We received some bridge money.
We haven't got the bridge money yet.
Okay.
We're supposed to get $152,000 of bridge money. I mean, $152 was for streets, and $125 for bridges that we haven't got yet. We've got some ARPA funds.
Okay.
One trench of $335,000 last year and $335,000 this year.
Okay, great, thank you.
Okay.
Christine, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good, anything you want to tell us about the previous year?
Hey, John?
Yeah.
I have one question
Sure.
for the town manager. Mr. Town Manager, can you go back to your first slide? Okay, so the 7.5% increase is $1.1 million. The debt service, health insurance, and heating gives $647. So if we're gonna keep to the 7.5 goal, the difference between 647 and $1.1 million is the increase in all departments. Am I mistaking in that?
General fund only.
General fund only. Okay.
Everybody else all set?
The taxpayers aren't paying for the enterprise funds. So,
You can see that down on the bottom section, 7.5 is just general fund, 2.7.
So I guess what I'm looking for is there a figure that departments, all departments, is it 600,000, $1 million, that they have to work with that?
so we asked them to bring in the budget that they felt they needed to operate their departments.
Correct?
From that point, we looked at the budget. You know, if I remember correctly, we cut about 300,000 off from the department head's requests to what I turned over to the budget or the board of
And what was
selectmen.
the remaining figure? If you've got 300, and I'm sure it's in here someplace, I'm just asking a question.
Yeah, so, the budget that I brought forward to the board of selectmen was $16,883,582.
I'm just looking for the increase only. The percent, I'm looking for the percentage increase figure, dollar amount, that we're,
That, what do you mean that, what percentage increase? The one that our goal was?
no, what I'm trying to figure out is what's the bottom line dollar amount figure that we're trying to keep it within your goal setting?
It's there, now, we're there.
Okay.
We're at 7.5% on the general fund.
Okay.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, go ahead, Christine.
Thank you. So this year, we were getting back to more normal procedures after COVID. The one thing we did notice is that obtaining part-time seasonal employees has been a struggle, not only for us, but for everyone. So we noticed it when COVID first hit, and we've still been feeling that struggle. Our program's numbers were slightly lower than usual, but they're picking back up with having a couple of years of being off for limited services just because of the restrictions. So I think you'll find my budget is a little bit more emphasis on employees to try to retain some seasonal part-time employees. We did also put in there another full-time position on the maintenance side, which we feel that we really need with our new facilities, and just trying to maintain everything we have. So that's it.
Okay, let's start with Park Administration.
Should be page 6 under the Parks and Rec tab.
John,
Yes, John.
I spent $4,500 on hearing aids, but you gotta speak up. Everybody. Otherwise, I've lost the money.
Okay, if I could just ask everyone to
Can't
speak
mumble.
up. Thank you, John. Okay, 100 series. Is that a new position in somewhere in here, in this budget?
It's in my maintenance.
Maintenance budget, okay.
Maintenance budget.
So, Mr. Town Manager, you have a new contract already with folks, with the AFSCME?
We do not, we're currently in negotiations.
So that sectionality wages, what is that for? Is that just to place it for 21,320?
The hourly wages, I believe that is the programmer, which is in the ASME contract, but that'll be adjusted on a standalone warrant article.
Okay. So the part-time wage increase, what was that due to?
Part-time wages, we had that position at 20 hours, we bumped it to 29, just because we really feel that we need that for operations.
What would those duties consist of?
That's more of bill paying, payroll, customer service, registrations and stuff like that.
Is that position filled now?
Yes. We just recently filled it. We were down 2 people this year, and we just filled that in late August. That position was filled.
Okay, thank you. 200 series. We don't have the health numbers there, so that's gone. Social Security, retirement. 300 series. 400 series. 500. 600. Gasoline. Year to date of October, we spent $831.92, and it's almost tripled the request for this year. Or I guess they originally asked for that, and now it's almost doubled. What's up with that? Why is that going up? Just because of the price, or?
Yeah, so the tricky part with gasoline is we can't get a contract for gasoline, so it's month to month. And what we are actually doing is you will see a spreadsheet coming in front of you that lays out just gasoline costs.
Okay,
So that if in December, all of a sudden we see some drops, we may be able to make reductions in the budget. If for some reason we see increases, if we have to make adjustments, we can make adjustments. But that will be a running document.
So if I may, in the summary section on page 16 and 17, and you don't need to go there right now, but you might want to reference it later, we have heat and oil, gas, diesel and propane. Some of the department heads put in different costs, so we did an entry, then the board made a motion to make them all the same rates to the best of our ability. They're all contracted except gasoline, but we did take gasoline as of 11/1 was $3.28, and that's what we booked their gallonage against that $3.28. It probably will be our recommendation to do it again before the budget committee's done with their budget, you know, if gas has gone up or down, to do the same thing.
Thank you. 700 series, 800 series, okay, travels and meetings. Last year you got 1875. You didn't spend any of it. Why should it be increased to $2,600?
Last year, I ended up not going to conferences because of COVID things. This year, I did a virtual one, and I upped it a little bit because I have 2 people underneath me, so they can do some trainings. It's more of going to the conferences, not really staying overnight, but to get their CPRP or information and education.
The other thing that you'll see, John, is when we get into some of the other departments, you'll see that some of the professional development lines have been heavily used. We sent somebody to a pretty in-depth training for ice building and management for the arena.
Oh, okay, good. Thank you. Any questions on anything we've covered so far? Let's roll through the 800 series. Let's move on.
Page 11, parks maintenance.
So this is where you'll see one of the new employees. If you look at the cover sheet, you'll see that it's highlighted in yellow. It gives you the number 1 beside of it, indicating that a new hire is coming on board. We'd like to be able to start that new position in the June-July timeframe.
So that amount only reflects half a year.
That's correct.
So next year, how much will the position cost us with benefits and everything? I mean, it's a full year.
Just shy of
100,000?
95. And it depends if it's a single person, 2-person, or family.
Family.
John, I have a question.
Sure, John, go ahead.
This line on the maintenance, for the number of hourly wages, is that just for the Parks and Rec, or does this include the additional people you need for the cemeteries?
So cemeteries has its own line with part-time people, but this is for the parks maintenance.
Okay, so you lost 1 person last year through death, so you replace it by 2, is that right?
That was in the full-time. Are you talking full-time or part-time?
Full-time. Hourly wages. This is the maintenance.
Yeah. So that was, we had already another person, we had the open position, and that maintenance crew leader was the replacement for the death that you're referring to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Where am I gonna see the savings for having that new position? You've doubled the part-time wages. So where's the savings by hiring a new, paying $95,000, $100,000 for a new position?
If you were to put a full-time position in, you probably could remove one of those maintenance part-time people, that 40-hour position out of there.
And how much is that?
$14,976.
So even though you already spent $15,593 up to October, why do you need so much more? Could that be 20,000? Is that a reasonable number to drop that line down to? If you were to get the new position?
The reason why we didn't spend money is we were only able to hire 1 part-time person that applied for the position. So if we were to have a full crew, it would have been 2 part-time people, a gardener, and the tree warden. We had the tree warden warden, we didn't have the last 3, it was 1 person, and he's only 32 hours a week, and we hired him later in the season. So you're saying bump the whole thing down to 20?
Yes, if that would work.
Yeah, I can make that work if I'm getting a full-time position.
Anyone have a motion other than me?
That's only for half a year. You shortchanging yourself?
I'll make a
For
motion.
this one, for the part-time, bump that down to
But
20.
you're only getting the full-time for half a year. Do you understand?
Oh, right. Full-time.
But you only spent $15,593 up until October of 2022. This would give you $20,000.
Right, but I'm not getting that full-time position until June or July. And most of my work is done from May until, is when it's satisfied.
Did you want to make a motion, Bob?
Sure.
And what would that motion be?
To reduce it to 20,000.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? Seeing none, the motion is to reduce line 117 part-time wages to $20,000. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Opposed.
Motion carries.
For clarification, you're moving it down to 20,000 or you're reducing it by 20,000?
Moving it to 20,000.
Moving it to 20,000.
Moving it to 20.
Okay, 200 series. $300 series. $400 series. $500. $600. Why the big jump on $680 for safety equipment? Almost doubled.
Adding a new employee, for the safety boots and for the uniform pants.
Okay, so the boots are $250. And uniform pants are $1,200, so that's $1,450, okay? 700 series. That's it on that one.
Next section is page 17, beaches.
Okay, 100 series. Another question. You spent $45,299.74 up till October, and you want $81,392.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So again, this is where we're at, where we can't obtain people because we're either not paying enough and people aren't getting jobs. I bumped it up a little bit because with the struggle, we had 2.5 lifeguards this year, and we really needed more than that. At Brewster, we need lifeguards, and then when we're running our programs with swim, we try to have lifeguards. Even our swim lessons were tight, so we bumped up the wages a little bit to attract people. This is from Memorial Day through Labor Day, for having the beaches have someone at them. And so the increase was just bumping the wages so we can attract people so they'll actually work for us.
So by double the amount of what you spent, you think that's gonna work? As far as getting people.
I would hope so. I mean, we're doing the best we can. I know that some places like 7-Eleven are offering $18 an hour, but we can't really do that, so I did what I could.
I get you.
Yeah.
Okay,
So just like the bump up in the last 100, it's in anticipation of getting more help because they're short-handed, and in anticipation of paying a decent wage to help you get more help.
just a quick question. You had 74,649. You didn't have the ability at that time to pay more wages to get more help?
I don't know why people are not applying for jobs. So we're really trying, our goal at the end of this, we just reached out to the high school. So we're trying to really form some partnerships with organizations to see how we can recruit people.
Okay, thank you. 200 series, 300 series. 400. 500. 600. 700. 800. And that's it on that section.
I have a question on,
Yes, sir.
400, line 431. Is that just a typo on year-to-date actuals, 19,724? On grounds and maintenance, 431.
Oh, what, you're talking about where?
Actuals is for almost $20,000.
Yes, we had to put up a fence, over at Brewster Beach so it could lock when we were locking the facility for the time that Brewster was taking back the beach at the end of the summer.
Thanks.
What other requirements does Brewster have now to have the beach open? Was there something other, like lifeguards or things like that, or?
Yep, they want us to have lifeguards when we're open. I did talk to them this year because I did as much as I could
Yeah.
based on help. So as long as we have a sign posted, they were fine with that. And we're really working hard. We had someone who taught swim lessons last year who could be possibly going to a class to be a trainer for us so we can train our own lifeguards.
Okay.
That's what we're looking at right now, to maybe and form some partnerships with other rec departments to see if there's a way for us to work together.
And pretty much Brewster Beach will be closed from Labor Day? Is that when it's officially will be closed?
They closed it, I think it was the third week in August for a couple weeks.
Okay.
And then we reopened it right after Labor Day. So it's just a 2-week window typically. And they let me know the date. We try to post that information everyone.
Great, thank you.
That gate, that fencing expense was for the gate into the parking lot?
It's actually, when you go into the parking lot, it's right by the beach now, so it just slides closed and open. So that way we could still use the parking lot, because we own the parking lot, we wanted to keep it for parking, so we're just blocking off the beach for them, and we still have access to the parking lot.
So the fund, the 17,000 that cost, did you have enough in your budget to, did you have other unspent line items that you were able to pull to pay for that, or did?
Yes, because I didn't have as many employees, I got permission from the town manager to do that because it was a requirement for the contract.
Thanks.
Yeah, so
John? Yes,
one
sir.
of the things about that is the lease agreement with Brewster required us to put a fence up. We did not want to put a fence at the entry to the parking lot, as Christine said, because it's municipal parking lot. So we put it down at the beach itself. And the thought process going forward was if we got to a position where this budget was in trouble, we could go back and ask to potentially be able to use funds out of the building maintenance capital reserve, but we didn't want to do that. We wanted to keep this right with the beaches where it belonged.
Good, Bob.
I was just gonna mention the lease, the town and Brewster drew up a new lease this year, and there are some guidelines in it, including the fencing. I think their idea is, take back the beach in a few weeks when they bring in the new students. And I don't know if there's anything in the lease, I haven't looked at it in a while, that would permit them to shut the beach down if there was any unruly behavior on the beach. I'm not sure about that one, but they're watching it very closely.
Yeah, we actually have cameras down there as well that I have access to, the police department have access to, and we haven't seen what we've seen in the past. So, and I think there's pretty good neighbors there that call me if there is anything going on. They let me know. So.
Great.
Not me, that's not me.
Yeah.
And then I haven't, maybe once I called you.
700 series, 800 series. And that's it on that section.
Page 23, Abenaki.
Okay, 100 series, the same question on such a big increase from the actual spent.
It's the same thing. If you went to Abenaki last year, you would have seen Bo and I working almost 7 days a week because we're filling in all the gaps so we could keep it open. It's more difficult to find seasonal part-time staff in the winter than it is in the summer. Luckily, we have a good turnover rate with returning staff. But however, this year we've had some changing of the guard, so we're still hiring for that. And we're hoping with a slight increase in the wages that we can attract more people for those positions.
I also believe, Christine, the lodge wasn't open last year for quite a period of time, right?
Right,
Because of COVID.
yeah, so we were operating with the windows to the lodge and people could utilize the bathrooms, but they weren't necessarily inside the lodge. So that did limit what we needed for staffing because there weren't so many people in the lodge.
And the unused money that's there, maybe we're gonna go back to some normalcy soon, so that we'll have more, high school students that want part-time jobs, or college students on breaks that want part-time jobs. The money has to be available there if they're short-staffed.
What's that 5-year average been, Casey? Do you have that? Do I have that in this book someplace, or?
Yep, it's in the back section, I would have to jump to that page.
I got it. It's 45,204,117.
Yep. That's what it says.
5-year average is 49,620. That includes 2 COVID years, I guess, right?
Right.
So that's a little skewed by that.
Once that slope is open, that lodge is used all the time by parents, people getting food. It's kind of a center for that mountain. And I can verify, I was there with my grandkids. I saw Bo and Christine all the time having to work. So we were definitely short-staffed.
Isn't it wonderful being a salaried employee?
So good. I love it.
I know, I'm not trying to, I just want to try to save some people some money. If we can save $10,000 here, then I think we should do that. I don't want to be a nitpicker, but I'm really concerned about the price of gasoline and oil and everything on the homeowners. And in particular myself also, being semi-retired. Yes?
Did you vote for me? Kristen?
I'm just curious as to how the Board of Selectmen, arrived at their reduction. Did they reduce the number of hours, or how did that $90,608?
They reduced the number of weeks.
They reduced the number of weeks?
So I think
Yeah.
Yes.
I had it in 16, and they put it down to 14.
Is that going to be able to open up even due to the construction on the ice arena?
Yes,
Okay, will be any issues with parking or any of that other stuff?
no,
Okay.
should be okay, we're working on it.
Okay, 200 series, 300 series, 400 series, 500 series, 600, 700. 800. Okay, anything else on that? Any questions on that, on the Abernathy?
Jumping to page 29, hockey rink.
Okay, it's just the 800 series programs. I noticed, Christine, that Brewster's got a nice outside rink they just put in over there. What, if any, effect is that going to have on use of our rink, on your rink? Do you know? Have you heard anything? Or?
So they actually have been gracious enough to offer it for use for the town.
Okay.
However, they are limited on hours. They didn't really have a lot of information. It was just, we just did a site visit last week? Last week, they were just having it, it was getting put up. There's still some questions on, you know, if it snows, how that works, when you have warm weather, how that works. So they're trying to figure all the ins and outs. I did have a conversation with the athletic director just to talk about the usage, and they have already booked their ice time with us. Once their contract is finalized, they're locked in, so whether they use it or not, they'll still have to pay for it. But they've given us the time that they plan on using the rink, and that's really just from now until they're able to get up at the rink. They have it. That is a purchase of theirs, so they do have it for the future. We don't know what the future looks like, but for right now, they have it just so they can practice and do the things they do before January 3rd, which is our technically soft opening date.
Okay.
Joe?
Yes.
I had a conversation with Christy Curran, the new head mistress, and she made it very clear to me that they were not gonna decrease anything that they were doing at Brewster. If anybody came to rent their ice, they were gonna send it over to Pop Whalen. In no way were they planning in any way to compete with.
Oh, good.
And I believe the permit stipulated is it was temporary, right?
Correct.
So it's, I guess when we're up and running full, it's gonna come down, I would think.
It's a lease purchase, so they don't own it. It works out that they can either send it back or in a year or so they can purchase it. So, and it was.
I wonder, does it have the refrigeration unit and all that stuff in the ice?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's all
wow.
down there.
But the planning board would not let them put up a permanent structure of any kind, so the building that they are using for their Zamboni had to be temporary, so the planning board saw it as a temporary.
So they have a Zamboni also? Wow.
Yep. I heard it cost $1 million to lease.
Wow. Anybody who's ever tried to make an outside rink?
No, it's not. We've done it.
I know when I was a kid, the hockey rink was on the Brewster Field there every year, and they strung the lights and all that
Yeah.
stuff to play the games. Okay, any other questions on the hockey rink?
Page 31 is programs.
Again,
Yep, same situation. We spent money that we needed to this year to run our programs. They were a little bit less enrollment, and that's across the board with all rec departments, we noticed, because we did investigate on that. But people are coming out more and signing up for programs. So we did raise the rates a little bit to cover that.
so we'll see an increase in the revenue side.
This year it's not as high just because we have limited staff and limited enrollment. But yeah, I mean, once we have full capacity of staff, we can offer more programs too. Day camp's a perfect example of that. I think we typically take 90 children a week, and I think we were at 45-ish.
Okay, 200 series. 300 series. 400 series. 500 series. 600. 800. And that's it on this section.
Hey, just a question on 639 diesel. We budgeted last year, 1215, spent 228, and yet I know diesel's going up, but I mean, is it going up that much, and is the use gonna go up that much?
So we didn't spend a lot in diesel this past year, because of our limited number of children, and there was a limited number of bus drivers. So typically, we have field trips on Tuesdays and Thursdays. 6 to 8-year-olds go on Tuesdays, 9 to 12 go on Thursdays. They didn't have bus drivers, so we shifted everybody to Fridays, and because of the numbers, we were able to put everybody on the same bus. If we go back to what we usually do, that would be impossible with the numbers to get everybody on the same bus. So that's why you'll see it significantly lower this past year. But typically, that's what we spend when we have full capacity for everybody.
John?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, is that a contract rate on the diesel? It's the 497?
Yes.
Okay. How long is that contract?
Only till June or July,
To June 30th.
June 30th.
And then it's
Then we.
anybody's guess? Okay.
Do you have to make a commitment for so many gallons, that you buy so many gallons? Does the town have to say, I'll buy 10,000 gallons, or?
I think we put together in the RFP, the estimated average number of gallons that we
Okay.
burn, and then they give us a pricing for diesel, propane, heating oil. We've never gotten a locked price for gas. It's my understanding it's always been a monthly.
Like a rack plus, whatever,
Exactly.
yeah.
But the other ones we do
Okay, good,
lock
thank you.
in.
Okay, Casey, where do you want us to go now?
Page 38, community center.
Okay, this is the community center. 300 series. $400. 600. And 700. That's it on community center. Yes.
Is there any tracking as to the usage of the community center, number of hours?
So currently, we utilize it in the summer for our day camp program. It's a rainy day location, and on hot days, that's where they eat lunch. Outside of that, the quilters use it on a regular basis throughout the year. During the summer, they're kind of kicked out for the day camp, but they use it throughout the year. We've been utilizing it for more programming things because we don't have Abenaki available to us either right now, so that's really our only indoor space. We get rentals here and there, but not as many as we used to. So I had a better program that had more utilization. I mean, utilization is definitely down on that. The quilters love it though. If you try to take it away from the quilters, they'll be mad, but they're the regular users. And then actually, to be perfectly honest, Amy in the welfare department, she also does the seniors. They're planning on using it a lot more, so they're gonna try to do a coffee thing there, at least weekly or something, and they're doing more programs. I think they just did a foot clinic there, they're planning on doing more, so.
Great, thank you. Any other questions on community center?
John?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I know that Whitehorse was looking for a place to do counseling.
Yeah, they
Was
did
interested.
call me.
Is there any way to work that out, or?
So they did call me, they needed more of a regular thing, and I had a conversation with them, but the problem was, because they get kicked out in the summer, I think she was looking for another place, or whoever I talked to, because it wasn't regular. And there were like certain days they wanted that were already booked through the quilters,
Yeah.
so that was the difficult piece.
Okay.
Okay. Now, are we gonna go over to town docks?
Yes, page 40, town dock.
This was a great idea that the selectmen did. I really appreciate that. I watched that a couple of Saturdays and Sundays, and that was really great. I would appreciate, however, when they see me having difficulty docking the bell, if they could just take a walk over and give me a hand.
We'll put that note.
Thank you.
Contact.
You'll save a lot of damage to both the bell and the dock. No, I think this has been great. Have you had a lot of positive comments from folks on it?
All positive.
Yeah, that's great, that's
Yeah.
great.
And if you go down there, the number of boats that they can get on the side of the dock, you know, you usually get 5, and if they're not there, you get 3.
Yeah.
So it's just,
Now, how do you fill those slots? Is it through, like, other employees that work for the town and they just volunteer to, or they take the overtime or
So
whatever?
we tried our darndest to get, people to come in and do the job,
Yeah,
and we couldn't find anybody. But the highway crew is really the ones who stepped up and did it. I mean,
oh, that's good.
they, you know, they're not plowing in the summertime, and they're looking for a little bit of extra money.
Mhm.
That's what we did this year, we paid them their overtime, but now we're transitioning it to more of a stipend, so that, people doing the same job are getting paid the same rate,
Right.
rather than a high-paid employee getting paid this and
Like 4-hour blocks, 6-hour blocks, or,
I don't remember if they were 4 to 8, I think. But I don't recall.
just on the weekends and holidays and that type of thing?
Weekends and holidays.
Yeah, that's good.
Additionally.
Yeah, it was 10 to 4 on Saturdays and
10 to
Sundays.
2 or 3.
It was 8 hours a weekend, so it must have been 4 hours on Saturday, 4 hours on
Yeah,
Sunday.
yeah.
And we did increase it for 16 weeks. I
Yeah.
think it was last year too.
That's-
So
that's
we
good.
made little tweaks on increasing the rate, increasing the weeks, because it was such a great program.
And, you know, I was gonna ask if there was a shut-off date, because I'd spent time at the docks, you know, in October when we had some beautiful weekends, and, I mean, it was crazy, and they really could have used help on those nice weather weekends.
Well, they moved it up a number of weeks. If you'd like us to move it up, if that's going to be a vote on their part, I'm sure we'd be willing to add more money to the budget and have them. You know,
Last,
but you make decisions on, you know, increases in the budget.
yeah, last year, we only budgeted a little over 7,000 for overtime. When we hit 11,000, the board or the town manager made the decision that we had to stop, you know, shut the program down maybe a little
And
early.
you don't know when it's gonna be a nice warm weekend.
Oh, of course
And-
not.
And you could say, you can't leave the guys hanging saying, well, you might be working this weekend, you might be working this weekend, oh, but now we definitely need you this weekend.
Well, I mean, that's all summer long. I mean, if it's a rainy weekend in the middle of the summer, they're probably not gonna be out there too much either. But, you know,
They actually, I've seen them down there on days when it was rainy and it was home, and they stand in the gazebo and they work in the rain and, you know, they're doing extra cleanup on the docks and they're doing a lot of stuff.
So we did increase it to 16 weeks, and we doubled the budget from 7,000 to over
Just-
14,000, so.
very helpful down there, that's all.
Yeah,
That's-
absolutely.
Do you know what that's gonna be, the stipend, what do you wanna call it? Is it like $100 a shift, or
We were gonna do $38 an hour,
$30, okay?
which was the overtime rate for the highest paid person.
Yeah.
Just to make sure that all people got the same rate.
Now, how do they turn in all the paperwork to Christine, or who's kind of responsible for this, scheduling and all this stuff?
Amy has a timesheet, sign up for it. It really is not rolling up into Christine, but as a Parks and Rec, it is a program that belongs on
Okay.
Parks
So is
and
it
Rec.
town employees only, or do you get other people coming in to do it?
We look for people to come in and.
So $38 an hour for 4 hours. So I could sign up and get $38 an hour and work a Saturday, Sunday.
Sure.
You know how to tie a knot?
Huh? What is it?
Tonight, tie a knot.
You probably get some pretty good tips, I imagine, in
Yeah,
some
we-
cases, from people. you know?
John, I have a question here.
Yes, John?
On the town docks, why is the taxpayer paying this? Why isn't it done by the Chamber of Commerce? I don't understand it.
You could ask the Chamber of Commerce a lot of questions like that and not
Beg
get a
pardon?
good answer. You could ask the Chamber of Commerce many questions like that and not get a satisfactory answer.
That's right. I do think that this should be paid by the Chamber of Commerce, because it's for the merchants downtown.
Not just the merchants.
What are they doing to try to increase attraction here?
Yes, Linda.
Well, it's not just for the merchants, it's for
What?
the island, it's for the
Yeah.
island people who come in, who have large homes. They use that dock, you see them coming in all the time, they're getting groceries. You still can't hear me? It is for the island people.
It's for everybody.
I think it also,
Entirely?
No, all of it, but there are a lot of island people who
Yeah.
use it, residents, citizens of the town.
That's part of the reason that you would have the taxpayer pay the total cost there, is that correct?
That's why I believe they should. I think it's a service of the town.
And it's a heck of a lot cheaper than extending the docks. There's a huge break even, a many, many years break even. By the time you break even, you'll be building the docks again.
You're gonna come apply for a job next summer.
I'm gonna hold you to that.
I will. $30 an hour, just docking boats, I'm all
Not
over it.
just docking the boat, I'll tell you. Those guys are working their butts off.
I agree.
92 degrees out there and they are working hard.
I also think it helps, limit liability, right? I mean, there are
Oh, yeah.
the town docks, you know, so.
Yeah.
Well, perfect example, I mean, the municipal electric boat was hit twice this summer.
Oh, yeah,
Ended up being totaled, and because we know, because we had staff there, we know who hit the boat. I was down there one day and somebody was, disabled with their boat, and they were pushing off to not hit the fireboat. So Howard to the deckhands, they came over and they pulled them in, tied them up until they could get somebody over there to service. So, you know, it has paid dividends. Granted, we lost our electric boat, which you'll see in the budget.
Why didn't the other guy's insurance pay for that? Shouldn't be our dime.
Well, there's a couple of reasons. The age of the boat, there's no value in it whatsoever, none.
So do we have, do we have insurance coverage, or did they have insurance coverage?
I'm not sure where that lays out. Barry had a boat program for replacement anyways,
Yeah.
and it's been hit, so I'm not sure where that claim lies, to be honest with you right now.
So if we had a rental boat down there that I've seen at the town docks, or just imagine that electric boat down there. I've seen one there most of the summer.
I don't know.
We still kept the boat down there.
Yeah.
Okay,
It was
wait,
still down there and usable, but
Okay.
it was totaled because of the bangs and,
oh, okay, okay.
okay?
But it's still usable, they can go out if they have to or whatever.
They had to
Okay.
for this summer, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, any questions on the town dock budget?
If not, you go to page 43, patriotic purposes.
I have a question.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Yep, you okay?
Okay.
Right here. So, the selectmen up this line. I'm trying to figure out what the rationale is that.
The selectmen upped it at the request, if you look on page 45 from the American Legion, we just did not have a budget, so we put it in as level funded, and then the American Legion gave us their budget request, so the
So,
board took the action to increase it on their behalf.
And I see that. Is everybody here aware that everybody pays a fee to to do this parade in this town? And it goes to the American Legion? Which means that money is supposed to go into that parade, especially for the trophies. That's what I'm watching here. There's a trophy line that the taxpayers are paying for, which is $250. They're collecting a $25 fee per participant. Maybe someone should look into that. Because I don't think that, I don't mind the band and stuff, but the parade trophies should be coming out of that $25 that everybody entering it's, paying. I don't know how many people were in that parade, but if each person's paying $25, that's a lot of money. Pay for the trophies. I know it's small potatoes, but it's just principle.
Okay, any other questions on the American Legion request?
Page 46 is fireworks.
Okay, $13,000. That's gonna be enough to have the 4th of July fireworks? And any other fireworks that we do? Is that just the 4th of July, or?
That's just for 4th of July.
Okay.
If we expended 21,000 this year?
We received donations to have a laser show, so there's a laser, donations offset the, difference in that, $8,100.
Don't complain, it cost me $2,000 out of pocket.
Good.
Okay, any other questions on fireworks?
This just covers the 4th of July fireworks, is that correct?
Yes.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Page 48 is the clock house.
Okay, 400 series. Jim, what do we do for the building maintenance that was almost doubled?
Wasn't no fences.
Yeah, we're replacing that fence. It's actually supposed to happen this month.
Okay.
I think we had some plumbing done too. There was a couple of, the
We
buildings are
removed-
in need of some repair.
Yeah, so we ended up removing, the piping to, was it the house? The Clark house had a bathroom upstairs, but we removed all the piping to it and blocked it off because they're not using that. They have one downstairs. They need to close that up. And then I also have the firehouse doors being replaced, so it should
Okay.
be happening this month as well.
Jim, where do we have like the liability if someone falls there, if the building burns down? Where does that insurance come
That'll
from?
be under property and liability, which is in a separate section under the general government.
Okay, thank you. Okay, 600 series. $800 series. And that's it on Clock House.
Page 50 is cemeteries.
I got a question on line 117. We expended only 57. The request hasn't changed. My question is going through each department, this is cemeteries and so on and so forth, I'm seeing a lot of unexpended money in that particular category. And I'm wondering, I know the problem with part-time and so on and so forth and scalability, but I wonder, those unexpended funds, does anybody have an actual, or I can actually add it up, but is there a running total of what we haven't spent in that line as well as other lines? I mean, when I'm looking at this unexpended, year end, there should be I know you got the gate and so on for Brewster, but what's the it seems like we haven't expended a lot, and yet we're planning on changing in the future because, and like we discussed before, sometimes I wonder if we bloat the budget to fund other things that happen throughout the year.
So I do not do that. I'm optimistic that people will work for me and I won't have to be filling in all those hours. So I do that. I do not spend any of that wage money without going to the town manager, because in my mind, that's for wages only, so I'm not allowed to spend that. If I am to go over budget or something's happening, I usually run it by him before I make that decision. I just go by the lines that I have. So I'm not inflating it, so I'm like, oh, now I have all this extra money and I can go crazy. This was restoration, so I have to go to the trustee of the trust fund for some of the restoration. So the people who do restorations for us have been working very hard. I don't know if you've seen Pine Hill Cemetery and some of the cemeteries, they've done a great job. But they didn't work as much this year, and again, we weren't able to get cemetery people as much, so that's why it is the way it is.
I've seen it the last 8-10 years, there's always a position available for mowing cemeteries. So you can do the boat docking
Yeah,
on the weekends, and
I'll
every
make a
other,
decision, you don't tell me what to do.
every other weekend you can mow the grass.
You do your thing, I'll do my thing.
Kristen, how many headstones or graves do they usually do a summer?
I don't know. So we're in the process, I had a conversation with them, we're in a process of putting all together, like, all the cemeteries we have, taking pictures, figure out where we're at with them, how many they've done. So they're putting it all together for me, so I'll have more information for you in the future, but they've completed Pine Hill Cemetery, that one is definitely all done. I think they might have completed North Wolfeboro Cemetery, North Line Cemetery, North Line's all done. But he has pictures, so I will make sure I get that information to you so you can see, how many we've completed.
Okay, so you go to the cemetery trust funds and ask for that. We put the money up and then you get the money back and
Yeah,
shows
for the
us.
restoration, yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
They've
Shows
been
us
doing
the
very
revenue.
nice work.
yeah, they're good.
It's hard to say, oh boy, what beautiful headstones, you know, you're looking at a cemetery,
Yeah.
really nice.
Okay, anything else for the cemeteries? Okay,
So
let's
that
move on.
includes the departments, but Christine does have some capital outlays. Oh, Pop Whalen, I'm sorry. I forgot about Pop
That's
Whalen,
okay.
sorry.
It's like, oh, we're done.
Pop Whalen has its own section, page 1 is Pop Whalen.
Is that towards the front or the back? Or?
Two or three tabs down,
From near the back.
Up well
Okay.
involved.
Pop Whalen revolving fund, third tab from the end.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay, 200 series. Okay, so this is one of those 50%.
Yes, so he's, part-time in the maintenance budget and then the other time in Pop Whalen.
Okay, so we got the 100 series first, and then the 200. $300. $400. $500.
Question on machinery equipment, machinery maintenance, 433, expended 23.9, on a budget of 10.9. What necessitated that expenditure and?
So we had a lot of Zamboni fixes last year. And then we just sent it out, again, for the season, so we had a significant bill to get it up to par for the season.
Okay. And you had enough funds to expend that without necessarily having to do it?
Correct.
And again, that was run by the town manager beforehand?
Yes, yep.
Thank you.
We actually looked at replacing the Zamboni because of the condition it was in, and we couldn't make it happen, it was cost prohibitive, so we stuck with repairing the existing machine.
Excuse me, 300, 400, 500, 600,
638 propane, big jump.
So you're gonna see a big jump in propane there because there is now 5 1,000 gallon propane tanks to run the dehumidification unit, and heat the facility and the hot water.
Which place?
700 series. $800. And 900.
And that professional development on line 820, that's where you send somebody to, on doing the ice correctly or something like that? Is that what you said?
He's a certified ice technician, so he finished up. So we had it in the budget to do classes, but he finished up the last 2 classes, so he's certified now.
Yes,
It
John.
was a 3-year program.
Go ahead, John.
A question here on revenues for the occupant. Have you going to show, decided increase in revenue there?
Has there been an increase in revenue?
That's right,
Is that your question?
yeah.
Um,
I'm just sort of curious.
yeah, I don't,
We haven't calculated the revenues yet, but in anticipation of you being at full force, you would be,
Yes.
you would be budgeting in extra revenues.
Should Commissioner sort of compare to what the percentage increase in cost of operation there?
So we're hopeful to be able to utilize the facility for some programs in the summer, which,
I heard that 15 years ago.
I know, but I think we misspoke on that just because we didn't have that dehumidification and the building, because it wasn't insulated, made it really impossible to do that. So now, talking to other rinks and seeing that we have the same facility type, it is possible now,
Okay.
yeah.
and I think you're also gonna see a couple of small conference rooms there that, may be able to be rented out for birthday parties, that type of thing.
Okay.
So we anticipate as well, revisiting the rates in the spring, to make adjustments for the new arena being on board.
I believe the Friends of Pop Whalen, when my kids played hockey, we used to have to, as a town, turn down having tournaments. Most tournaments happen at the end of the season. We should be able to extend the ice season now another month or maybe more and pick up tournaments, and tournaments are a good draw of money.
And we also have the Lakes Region Curling Association that uses our facility that would like to host a tournament, but typically their tournaments would be in October. October is when we typically open up the rink, and because the building wasn't insulated, it would be not very soft ice, and we'd be catching like humidity from the ceiling, so it was impossible to do that. But now that the building is insulated, there's a real possibility that they could host a tournament, so.
Thank you.
And John?
Yes, sir.
Also, the Friends of Pop Whalen, they put together a very good business plan that they presented to the Board of Selectmen and us when they were trying to present and have us vote for the Pop Whalen. And they were pretty optimistic that they would do better with, in many areas, advertising and such. It was their presentation I found very impressive. And
So I'm currently working with them, so January 3rd is our soft opening, but we're still working on the advertisement piece, still trying to come up with numbers for the rental of the facility and off-season and stuff like that, but we're working towards to have that prior to opening.
I guess there's a certain amount of guesswork with all of this, but I thought the plan was very impressive.
And I'm on that board and they're looking at it again with real
Are they?
figures, and they're gonna sit down with Christine, so they're gonna stay on it.
Good. It's nice to have Brewster sign up with that, so I think it's good.
I just got a question for Christine. Like, there's a big pickleball tournament down at the pickleball court. Do we get any revenue for that, for use of the pickleboard? Or,
So, I would say that when they do have a tournament like that, they usually will buy pickleball nets that they donate to the town, so it is something that is given back to the town. If there's anything we need for that area, they usually ask me, so they're willing to buy what's needed for that pickleball area. But we don't really charge them per se, that's their own thing.
So if I wanted a hockey tournament, could I just buy you guys some new pucks and use the rink?
No,
No?
no.
Oh, okay.
With the amount of pucks we found falling out of the old building, we don't need them.
Oh, really? I bet there was a lot of them, yeah.
I got one in my office.
Okay, any other questions on?
I think if you're ready, she has a couple capital outlays.
Sure.
On page 11, $60,000 for baseball field improvements.
So, I'm still getting some hard numbers for you, but this is, we have the Cal Ripken has been utilizing that field, more regularly than in the past. At one point when I first started, they were pretty heavy users, and then they all went over to the NIC. The NIC is charging them, so it is a little bit more pricey, and we hadn't had the usage that we've had in the past, but just more recently, they've decided to use it, and we've noticed that our infield really needs some work. So we're trying to get it back up to where it needs to be, so they can utilize it a little bit more. We've also had some talks about adult softball leagues and such, so.
So you have a hard number by the time we close out our budget season?
What do you want to do down there exactly?
So we're gonna work with the highway department. Basically, we need to, I guess, dig up the whole infield, right?
The whole infield is overgrown with grass now, so it needs to be dug out and brought in tons of infield mix and have the whole infield redone. And then some grass work and maintenance to the dugouts.
How far down are you gonna dig?
I think you need to go down 6 inches.
Steve? Another job for you.
That's right. I have plenty of jobs.
Another part-time job.
The model we looked at was to be able to have two different lengths of base paths on it, which currently it is not, to accommodate different age groups and different types of leagues. So I think if one was
60,
45 and
70,
60 or something like that.
Yeah.
So it'd be two different base path lengths.
I think it would be, it's a pretty short field for like, I think an adult to play baseball on.
Well, sometimes they do like adult softball, but if you hit it outside the fence, it's an automatic out. That's the way they kind of.
Really?
Yeah, that's.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
So you're not trying to kill it. So.
it's not the full 90 feet.
Yeah.
Like a regular ball field. It's
I know at one time,
60,
the
45.
Cal Ripken and the other Little League teams would get together and do some work down there. They still doing that, helping out? I think they did some rebuilding and things like that. Do they help you out at all with that?
They had said they'd
Give you a hand?
interested.
Yeah.
Yes.
So once we get some hard numbers, and it's gonna be probably a group effort with that organization, highway and ourselves, just to kind of bring it up to where it needs to be.
Okay.
The type of work that needs to be done then and there, it's not really, it's heavy equipment, moving earth
Yeah.
and bringing earth in. And then from that point, the maintenance of it, absolutely, getting those teams on there to help with the maintenance is.
Okay, so that's something we'll have to look before the end of the budget cycle to see.
So when you're going to get help from the highway department, that's gonna be free labor for you?
So they will be working on a piece of town property. Yes,
So you don't have to pay for the labor then?
we don't.
We'll be collaborating, working as a team, and it's a good photo op for the press to see that.
Just curious.
So the 60,000 is materials?
Well, I don't know, so I pulled a
Just
number
gotta
because
prove it.
I don't know all that, so it could be less. Once I get the hard number, then that could go down.
Cool.
You put higher, so I won't shock you, so then it will be a pleasant surprise when it's less.
It's always the way to go.
Yes.
Okay, I guess we've got the Brewster Beach septic.
Yes, so this is to change out the current I'm gonna let Bo speak on
So-
this. This is Bo Betts, my assistant, if you didn't know.
Okay, nice to
So,
meet you.
there go.
Currently, there's a single chamber tank down there with a grinder pump that will grind whatever is in there and then pump that up to the street, correct, Jim?
Correct.
We've been advised that, we've replaced that pump now a couple times in the last few years. Just because whatever people are flushing down the toilets, it's grinding and chewing whatever they're flushing down the toilets. Trash, you name it, they're flushing it. So, by putting in a dual chamber tank, it will separate the solids and liquids, and then that pump won't need to be replaced as frequently, and that will just pump the liquids up to the septic in the street.
The other thing we have to do with this is, we have to look at where the septic tank is currently located, because we're not sure if it's on town property or Brewster property. And we feel that it should be on town property, which means most likely having to put it in the parking lot, which may mean some minor repairs with the parking lot, after that's achieved. So, this is something that we really need to do.
And I'm still working on a quote for that.
What about permitting and stuff like that? You need special permits because it's down by the water?
I don't think there's a need for a permit, because we're replacing something that's already existing.
And it's far enough from the water too.
Yeah.
It's good to get as many macerating pumps out of your system as possible, because gray water is much easier to treat and better for our whole treatment system than macerated waste.
So does the tank, does the beach access town sewer at all up on the road or not?
Yes,
Just-
It does, but we're shooting it against gravity because it goes downhill,
Right.
so that's where
Right.
the issue lies.
Can you also look at with the advent of water-saving devices in lavatories these days, and also when I look at toilets in, mountainous areas and so on, with all the technology that's out there, as far as, turn on the water with your hands underneath and all that kind of stuff. Not that I want to increase any expenditures necessarily, but maybe as we're doing this, look at the whole picture as a way to improve that whole laboratory system that's there. Anyway, just a thought,
Yeah.
because there's so many ways to decrease the amount of water going through. And,
So I think the sink already is one that you have to hold in order,
Good.
yeah, so
Good,
that
excellent.
it shuts itself off, so you don't have just running water and you even notice it.
Good.
is
It's
there
been
a
a while
shower
since
in
I've been
that
down there, so.
building? I don't remember.
No. There's no shower.
So the Clark Road pump station's right next to the entrance to the beach, so but it's an uphill climb, so that's why we need a little small pump station that's next to the beach building, to get it up to the street.
Gotcha.
Okay, any questions on that one? Okay, let's move on.
So those are the only two that have been approved and put forward, but there were three. So on page 29, the town manager removed a John Deere tractor.
Yeah, so the rationale behind removing this was, there was also a request from the Department of Public Works for a tractor. We've had conversations about whether or not these tractors can serve dual roles, to be able to buy one tractor that may be able to take care of the mowing at the RIB sites, to be able to take care of the mowing along the easements for the water line, to be able to take care of the mowing that Christine needs done, and some other work around the Abenaki facility in the wintertime. So I would say the tractor, they were both put on hold, and they'll be coming back to you in next year's budget.
Okay, so these other items in the back, we can just disregard those and throw those out or whatever, and there's no
Unless
issues
you'd
with
like to
that.
add them back in, sir.
No, I just wanted to lighten the load of this book.
So do you want to go over the ones that have been removed, or no?
I don't see any need for
Okay.
it.
All right.
Okay, what else do we have?
That's it.
That's it. Anyone else have any questions of Christine?
No, I have a couple of questions for Catherine and Jim,
Okay.
but if you want to release Christine. I'm
Well said, Christine. Thank you so much.
Any comments or compliments or anything?
Thank you.
A release!
Christine, Clocks and Records, John Burke's favorite department, I have
I
to tell you
know
that.
that.
Yeah, you know that.
Now,
Yeah, I think Alexa comes in second.
I'm just amazed at the amount of activity that you're supervising and
It's a lot.
doing it very well.
Thank you.
Yes, you are.
So a raise, you're saying I get a raise? I'll thank you plenty, I don't need money, it's fine.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Okay, Jim, do you have anything else, Casey?
I do not, but I think Bob did, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a couple, just, well, the second thing I already forgot, so that's how good my memory is. But the first, I just want to know how the budget's going for 2022, since we're in November now, and you know, how things are going along. As far as, you know,
I think it's good and bad.
yeah,
You know, I think our operating budget, we're holding the line pretty well on.
yeah,
There's some lines that are taking some hits, but we've made some provisions to, specifically with the fuel, to be able to accommodate some of those overruns, and we feel pretty comfortable about it. We've got some problems with some of the capital projects. We're currently working through those capital projects, and frankly, we may have to come back and ask for more money to be able to complete them. So that's where I would say
Yeah.
good and bad.
I'm just concerned about the operating budget, you know, are you gonna make it? You gotta come in under the wire, you know?
We will.
Okay, yeah,
We
that's
will.
good, that's good. And then, my second question is the status of the ladder truck. You know, have they promised a delivery, or you?
So it's my understanding that Sunday, crews are flying to Wisconsin to do final inspection. Final inspection takes usually 3 days or so. They'll go through everything on the truck. They'll traditionally come up with a punch list, and then that punch list they fix. Truck gets driven to Wakefield, Mass, where they'll do the final outfitting, lettering, mounting of lights, radios, blah, blah, blah. Crew will go down to Wakefield, Mass, ensure everything is the way it's supposed to be, ensure that the punch list that was supposed to be done in Wisconsin was done. Then it will come here. And to get more to your point, I think, the Board of Selectmen authorized the expenditure of an additional, I think it was $146,000 out of the capital reserve fund. Once we accept the truck in Wolfeboro, we will hand over the check for that amount. Now, they did come to us in July, if you recall,
Yeah.
asking for $226,000. We kind of drew the line on that, pushed back on them a little bit, had a lot of conversations, and we weighed the pros and cons of buying another truck. We found a demo truck that we could buy, but it would have cost us about $210,000 more. Getting a old piece of equipment in here for a period of time and taking them to court, that's not gonna win, that's gonna drag out. So it was determined that this is the best course of action, and I'm really hopeful that around the 1st of December, we'll have a ladder truck in this town.
Sounds like the best way to go. Yeah, that's good.
We're gonna have like an open house so everyone can see it and take a look at it.
You can stop by anytime.
No, I
I'm
think a
sure,
lot of
but
people-
yeah,
I think a
no,
lot of people would like to
I'm
see
sure the
something like
chief
that.
will do some sort of
You know?
a PR campaign
Yeah, that'd be nice.
to
Jim,
let everybody know.
we got an extra year of insurance on the vehicle too,
Yeah, they gave us an extra year warranty on the
which is,
vehicle,
which
which they
is
say
worth
is
what?
$20,000,
Oh, that's good.
so.
That turned out good for everybody then, that's good. Okay, anybody have anything else?
John, yes, I do.
Yes,
have
John.
one more thing. This is for later on in the budget sessions, but looking ahead to warrant articles, we should be considering the fact that the interest rate is going to be up about 5 to 6% compared to 2.5 to 3% that we're getting on existing loans.
Yeah, so we've got the first round of warrant articles drafted. They're in the Board of Selectmen's hands. They're gonna review them on the 16th. And there's gonna have to be some hard decisions made.
I have a feeling that the interest rates are going to start coming down.
Down?
When the oil companies decide to produce more oil. And it's a bad year to get a lot of loans out. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, John. Anybody else? Okay, I take a motion to adjourn. Okay, we'll see everybody tomorrow night. We'll do the
PD?
police communications and the rest of the police department. All those in favor of adjourning, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.